Welcome back and Happy New Year. If no one has said it to you since, I will. Happy New Year. I am Saray, a UX designer who is very much obsessed with color and accessibility, and also obsessed with letting you guys into this world of UX that has so much to offer and so much to bring you in on. So today's video, we're going to start talking about the ABCs of UX. It's not going to be in alphabetical order, but we will get through every single letter, and today's letter is going to be W. So the way that this is going to work is that each letter usually will have one or more UX principles that I'm going to describe in detail to you guys, show you some examples, tell you why it's important, and tell you how you can practice these skills on your own so that you can add them to your portfolio and you too can be that bomb UX designer that you want to be in 2022. So starting off with W, a really big thing in UX is wireframing. If you haven't heard that word before, it's pretty much how we define the structure of whatever application we're working on, how we make sure that things are in the appropriate places. If we're designing for mobile, making sure that the menu is at the bottom so that your thumb can reach it. So there's really huge importance that we place on wireframes as UXers because they really do help with structure. And another reason they're important is because when we deliver our designs to a developmental team, a dev team, they use these designs that we have given them, these wireframes, as the blueprint for what they are creating. So the dev team doesn't just pull stuff out of the air. They actually design their designs based on what the UXer, myself, yourself, what you have given to them. So wireframing is extremely important, and it's a really big principle that we have. So there are different levels of wireframing. Wireframes can come in 3 levels. Sometimes you can get it down to 2, but there is low fidelity, mid fidelity, and high fidelity. So pretty much what it is that it is a blueprint, like I said before. So it is a bunch of lines and figures to give you a rough estimate of how things are going to look. And as you go up in fidelities, it gets more and more polished. So when you start at a low fidelity wireframing, it means it's the absolute roughest of the rough. Okay, it's a rough cut of what you're trying to create. There's not really any distinguishable features. There's not any text that you can distinguish. There's just shapes and lines to help you understand the placement and structure of things. And as you go up in fidelity, you can introduce things like lorem ipsum, which is just a gibberish text that you can place for using for examples and fillers. And as you go up one more in fidelity and you're at the highest, high fidelity, that's where everything is pretty much flushed out. Colors, topography, everything is beautiful, placement is everywhere. And the reason why we do these is because it's super helpful. Because if you're trying to create a wireframe just on the go, if you think about it, it's going to take you more time than if you have just one solid document that you can tweak small things to have you go up in fidelities. So it's really a time saver, it's really helpful, and it's really something that we do a lot. There are lots of wireframing tools that we use, but right now, kind of industry standard is Figma. Figma is the big boy, the big girl in this design space. So Figma is super robust. It can be used on any web browser. It doesn't need any special downloads. It doesn't need any special packages. It's ready to go fresh out the box. Figma.com, make your account, good to go. You can go ahead and design. There are other tools that people use like Adobe XD or Balsamic, and that they're still very frequent in use today, but a lot of people are understanding the power of Figma, so they transition to Figma, which is, I think, the best choice because Figma is my favorite. There are lots of articles that explain the importance of wireframing and why you should use them. I'm going to link them down below so that if you want to have some time to browse through these articles, you totally can. So you can get a little bit more in-depth knowledge of wireframing and how to do it and how it's best done, and show you some wonderful examples, best practices, things of that nature. But that, my friends, is wireframing. And then we're going to move on to our second W, and that's Whitespace. So Whitespace is also very important It's important to have your elements spaced out on your page in your wireframe. It's important to have your logo, your text, your buttons, your call to actions. All of these things are important, but Whitespace, I would argue, is equally as important. Whitespace allows the viewer's eyes to have visual rest. When there's just too much going on the page, you can tend to get overstimulated, and that can tend to push you off of the website for you to never return. And that's not what you want. Designing with Whitespace in mind helps you to remember that human beings need a little bit of a visual rest, a little bit of a moment so that they can continue to explore your content and find what they're looking for. It's not a gimmick. It's something that's very, very necessary. And when you see a page that's designed with Whitespace and one that's designed without, you can instantly tell the difference. I heard this in a podcast. I've been listening to the podcast 99% Invisible. It's excellent if you're thinking about listening to it in terms of accessibility. That you will always notice bad design, but it's kind of hard to notice good design. And that's by design, right? If you notice good design, there's probably something that can be tweaked about it. If you're using it day in, day out without a second thought to it, it's probably become intuitive. And that is the ultimate goal of what we do here as UXers and people in this tech space, to make sure that the design is intuitive, to make sure that it's something that you don't have to think about to be able to use it. It's like the hallmark, the gold standard of what we're trying to do here as UXers who are in the midst of human-centered design. So adding Whitespace in a graphic sense and also in a print sense is something that's really important. It allows for so much brevity. It allows for air freshness too, and it also breathes to modernity, because we all want to make sure that our tech is advancing with the times. And because tech moves so quickly, we have to keep up on things. But Whitespace is one of those things that will never, ever go out of style. Effective use of Whitespace can help you get your message across quicker. Have you ever thought about that? With so much Whitespace that you can make sure that your message, your call to action is actually translating to your end user, to your client. That's the goal, right? So we want to make sure that we use it in our designs. Another W that we have right now, it's whiteboarding. So all of these kind of go hand in hand: wireframing, white spacing, I'm getting caught up. Whiteboarding. Whiteboarding is really just for the ideation phrase. Actually, for any stage where you need to get ideas down on a whiteboard to collaborate with your team. I'm not sure if you know this, but a lot of UXers work in teams. Some of us work by ourselves and some of us work in teams. So it's beneficial for any way that you're performing these activities as a UXer. By yourself, in a team, it works. Making sure that you're getting your ideas out on a whiteboard, doing whiteboarding exercises can help to really flesh out your wireframes and make sure that they have all of the features and that they are fully robust for whatever it is that you're creating. Whiteboarding exercises ask you to visualize the process, ask you to really take a step back, put yourself in the user's shoes, ask you to really think about how you're going to get from ideation to prototype to production. It's really, really a useful and helpful experience that you can use in your practice as a UXer. You can show your work and show how you arrived at certain recommendations, really just giving your process a chance to get out of your head and onto actual paper, so that it can breathe, so that you can see what you have in your head, so you can see what you visualize. Because sometimes when you see what you visualize, you realize that there might be more steps that you have to take, and that's okay. That's the whole purpose of this whiteboarding exercise, is to really help you get all of your steps laid out and made sure that you are moving forward with purpose and that the things that you're creating have a rhyme and reason. So I want to thank you guys for being here for the first letter of my ABCs of UX. Today's letter was W. Yes, we're not moving in an asynchronous fashion, but we're going to get to all the letters and we're going to make sure that we cover a lot of these terms. Thank you guys for watching so much. Don't forget to like, comment, rate, and subscribe and share with everybody so you can come back next time where we'll have another letter. And I'll see you guys in another video. Bye, everyone. Have a good day.